I'm here with John Trigg from Advito. So let's talk a little bit of data. What areas have data that you can collect and learn from? And are any of those areas more difficult than others?
Well, we collect data from multiple sources, and I would say agency and expense are probably the number one and two, but we collect it from all areas. So it could be rental car, suppliers, ground transportation, rideshare providers, rail providers, Amtrak, Deutsche Bahn, anybody that's sort of out of agency is a great opportunity for us to gather data. There's the easy ones, and then there's some of the more difficult ones.
Well, yeah, speaking of those more difficult ones, what are they and what makes them more difficult?
Well, the big guys, Concur, for instance, super easy because we've built an API. So we can get that data lightning fast on a daily basis. You go to some of the other smaller providers, Chrome River, for instance, we can do Chrome River, we can do any expense platform, but we have to do manual feeds of that data. So it does take a little bit of logistics through the client for them to okay it for the supplier to send us that information directly. But they're all doable. Some of them are just easier than others. And as we start to build up, like Avis, we now have 6 or 7 customers that we get Avis data from. So it's about time that we build an API, and they have them in place as well. So the bigger companies, easier, but all of them can eventually get API-driven connections.
Okay, so do you have any examples of a time when maybe the data story doesn't actually match, people's thoughts or what's happening?
Or what they thought was going to happen. And believe it or not, that happens a lot more often than you would think, especially when you're consolidating multiple data sources. An example that comes to mind is our sustainability team, which does a really thorough job of actually getting down to your O&D pairings and the equipment that you're flying on, and maybe moving. Well, this in particular example, they moved 50% of the share over to a new airline that was flying on a newer generation aircraft, lower emissions, helped them reach their goals for emissions, and then it saved them $58,000 over the course of the year just for one city pairing. So you apply that to a global program. You can't say that's going to happen for every O&D pairing that you're going to actually save money, but it is a misconception that being sustainable is going to cost more money.
And a great example of using data the right way to prove the best outcomes. John, thanks so much for your insight. Always great talking to you.
Thanks, Chad.